Have you guys ever gone through the I need a wife objection? In today's video, me and my team, we actually go over a live call where one of my closers actually faces this objection. In this video, we actually talk about, why people bring it up. And during this time, we were actually onboarding with a new influencer. So it was very interesting experience because we didn't really have that much experience with new influencers, and we were having trouble kind of getting all the information we needed at the time, right, from the influencer. And it was a really, really good lesson. I actually had one of my marketing friends on this call too, so he gives his perspective through the marketing lens. But guys, must watch video. It's a really good video. There's a live call in this one, and we break it down step by step. So if you guys like these videos, make sure to watch the whole playlist, and I will see you guys later. And make sure to sit down for a while because this video goes on for a pretty long time. But I hope you guys enjoy. Take care. Peace. Just curious, does anybody have recordings today? I know David has one, right?
I don't have any good ones. They're all shit.
Well, why don't we start off with David then?
Yes.
Cool. So let me just load this up.
Hey Kev, how was that Halloween party?
Oh man, I didn't end up going, man. So bummed.
You got like 5 costumes ready to rock out.
Yo, rock out the rocket ship crotch costume, the cock-a-doodle-doo crotch costume.
The one-eyed monster.
One-eyed monster crotch costume. Like, dude, I was ready, man. I was ready to go. That's how I roll as a high ticket closer, man. I gotta always flex my high ticket package. You know how much it costs for a freaking rocket, bro?
Nah, man. How much?
I don't know. Do you have a budget set aside for something like this?
You got a big ass budget for that.
How much are we talking about?
How much you want to know?
Well, I don't know. Well, you suppose that you had a budget. Could you handle a big package like mine?
My budget might be too big.
Typically, when people say that, that means that they don't have a budget. This isn't the case, is it?
Yeah, it's unlimited.
Oh man, I can't believe. I need to find a better system to do this because I'm like scrolling through all the text and stuff. Was it content creation? The content creation chat that we have?
I put in the content creation.
Oh, gotcha. No wonder I couldn't find it. What part of the call did you want to go over?
Yeah, when I reviewed it, it didn't seem so angry from like when I'm hearing it again. But it's definitely different when you're in it, right? Because he's just like blasting it out. But definitely, like I got more clarity listening to it again. Let's see, where can I go with? Because I wrote it down as well.
I think it's like the info part. Why don't we do the info part?
It sounds like, so when I was re-listening to it again, like the first 5 minutes, he definitely like just unloaded on like just kind of why he was looking into this. So it's very straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
And my purpose for the call was to like dig deeper, just to get a better understanding of his situation.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually it gets to a part where, at the halfway mark, he starts to have, so at 13 minutes, 10 seconds, he talks about if it's just a course, he would just rather buy a book. Because I guess he experienced another guru's course where he bought the course. Then he also bought the book from that guru. And then he read the book. It's practically the same thing. Like, that's just funny, you ask me.
Wait, so this kid wanted to, like, he was like, if this is a course, I'd rather just buy a $10 book. That's so funny, dude.
Yeah, so it's funny when you like re-listen to it again. It's like it just sounds different the second time around.
Are you talking about the trucker?
Yeah, the driver.
Oh yeah, I remember listening to that one.
Yeah, I looked him up when I got his voicemail because you can't really find much unless they give you more details than just a name.
Mm.
And then like he gave his company name on the voicemail, so it should be all in the recordings because I recorded all of it. I looked him up, looked up his LinkedIn. It's like, oh, okay, he's an old white guy. All right. But not.
How do you know if somebody's like an old white guy? Like, do you just see his picture?
Yeah, there's a picture, and he's been working for a while, like a couple decades already.
You can hear it in his voice.
Yeah.
Really?
He got
You
3
can
kids.
hear it.
Super hard groovy. Like he just wanted to get something.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, definitely the last 3 minutes he was just unloading fast. Like you could tell he kind of took a bit over with his Ruby. So some key notes I wrote down. Let me see.
Yeah,
I was writing key stuff.
Dude, I would love to just replay the last 3 minutes and just like react to it.
That sounds
If
fun.
that's the most entertaining part of the call, like, dude, let's listen to that shit, man.
Yes. So we start at so let's see, 17-minute mark. Detail on what it does. So I wrote that because basically everything he has a complaint on covers. it's funny. So it's like, why aren't you buying, man? He's exactly why you were looking at the 4Ds, right? So at 18:47, there's one rant. At 19 minutes 58, there's more rant. Basic info, don't like fluff. And then at 21:32, I was just thinking of a question while I was listening at it. It's like, ask what he did with what he learned. Because I think at that point he was complaining about like he bought Guru courses and nothing came of it. So to me it sounds like maybe he didn't apply what he learned, or maybe I don't know. Because if he flipped 11 houses in 15 years, he's doing something. So it can't be completely like bullshit.
Yeah. Let's play from the rant, like what was it? How long is the actual sound, right?
About 23 minutes 10 seconds for the entire recording. It's kind
Let's listen to like starting from 1958. You said more rant.
So we're doing the angry trucker, right? Because the other guy you did was also an old white guy too. I thought that's what you're talking about.
No, it's the same person.
Was it the same?
I only had one call that actually went through. Like the other people were like no shows. So
Why do you think these people are so angry, by the way?
we got burned in the past.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fake realtor guys.
Yeah. Let's just listen to the last 3 minutes of it. He's still ranting at 20.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll go at the 20 mark.
I'm looking for somebody who's actually in the market, in the business, doing it. And so if I have a great opportunity, I can pick up the phone and say, hey, piece to this, and then he comes in and we split the profits. However, because to me, education is very valuable, but if I just have basic information, because I've bought courses and it's been nothing but basic information, and I've wasted $2,000 and $3,000 of money and time for just basic information, I'm not interested. But if I have an opportunity to have a potential business partner, then I'm interested. But if it's not fluff and stuff, I'm not interested.
I understand where you come from, and I can absolutely tell you that the type that would do business if he sees an opportunity. So if you have something like that, I'm sure he'll talk with you. No doubt about it.
And I've talked to people, I've talked to different gurus too that have access to 200 private investors. Oh, but if you want the list, it costs you $3,500. And it's like, come on. It's like, said everything's an upsell.
For sure. Yeah, to my knowledge, he doesn't have any other like packages or services. Like this is the only one, and you're getting direct access to him and partnerships. So, I mean, I'm not sure how much that can assure you. I'll look for what you're looking for, but I believe everything seems matched so far. Like you guys seem to be like the right fit. So the only thing you need is some more information on exact details. Is that correct?
Exact details of what's in it, and yes, and I want to know for sure if, like I said, if I have a killer real estate opportunity, if is going to be a part would be a potential partner in it, because like I said, I want somebody that's in the game actually doing it.
Definitely, yeah, he's definitely in the game at the moment. All right, so let's move this forward. When's a good time to reconnect? Definitely you need to talk to your wife about this, and I'll send over the information as soon as I can within the next hour.
Well, you email me the information. I'll look it over. I'll discuss it with my wife, Tammy. Like I said, we're cash out refining our house. If it's something that we feel that it needs to be added to our repertoire, then we'll be getting hooked up. If not, then I'll say thank you, but no thank you.
All right, that works for me. So I'll send you the email with the details, and I'll put the rescheduling under. Does that sound okay?
That sounds great.
Awesome. Well, Joel, it's been a pleasure speaking to you, and hope to hear from you soon.
Okay, and I hope you have a great day.
Okay, stop the share, Lexi. So after rewatching that, David, what are some things that you would do differently on the call, or what are your thoughts after listening to it?
Oh man, I had it in my head earlier. It just went out. Pretty much, I would address that a little differently because even though like he kind of fits what he's looking for, I probably would just go like a little deeper. If that makes sense.
Like, what questions would you ask?
Like, suppose if everything you're looking for already, and I mean, because I kind of went that route. Like, you can't. There's not much you can really say if he wants like some level of credibility that you can't really prove on the spot.
Let me open it up to you guys. How would you guys like handle a call like that when somebody's asking like, I want more information or something like that?
I think it's a struggle here because we don't have a lot of background to lean on. Do you know what I mean? Like, for example, like if we're going to use Dan's funnel, which unfortunately is a lot better than most people's, we're like, okay, well, I mean, he's got websites, he's got testimonials, he's got YouTube. What do you want? I can't give you anything more, except we don't have that here. So, you know, I think that's like I said, it's hurting our ability to have authority and conviction.
Yeah, that's really the power of marketing, where like it just builds so much trust, right? And but I don't know, if I were on the call, I would definitely ask like, what kind of information is he looking for exactly? Like, you know, like what information are you looking for exactly? And what if you have that information, what would that do for you? You know, specifically.
Right. Maybe even get the. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, like what by having those information, what would that do for you? Like that's a good question to ask a prospect, because then at that point you would know if that's truly what they want or they're just making shit up just to get off the phone or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get a sense of that. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think like when you're dealing with someone more analytical, it's like the data makes them feel comfortable, but what does that data like do to help them feel at ease? That's at least how I close, right? I'd love to hear your thoughts, guys.
No, I absolutely agree.
Yeah, so earlier in the call somewhere, I'm not sure exactly where, probably maybe 10 minutes before this, I mentioned like, you know, suppose we went forward and, you know, I found him all this information, like where do we go from here? And he literally said that he'll just go buy it after discussing with his wife, who's in real estate.
Oh.
Right.
Tao, how would you handle that if somebody asked to speak to their wife about a main decision?
Such a Ruby guy.
Yeah. What would you do? How would you handle that, Tao?
I actually got it before, but when I handle it like very poorly. I respect them. I'm like, go ahead and ask your wife. But I mean, if your wife say no, would you give up on what you're going to do? That's what I asked. And they're like, no, but they did. I mean, they gave up.
Tao, I thought you would go after the man card, man. Like,
I don't know. When they brought up their wife, I'm gonna be like, are you a decision maker in your house or your wife, right? But they'd be like, oh, we are together for X, Y, and Z years, and and we respect each other, and we like, you know, tell each other about everything and stuff like that. I mean, what could I say? I mean,
yeah, I've actually ran into your situation too. Ran into your situation. Sometimes they just want to make sure that their partner is just on board, and like that's a legit thing. But I think like if you're gonna go that route, like
Depends on their tonality too. If they're very sincere and you can feel it. Like if they actually want to talk to their significant other and you can feel it, then yeah, you let them talk to their wife and whatever. But otherwise, I'm gonna chase them until they are like, yeah, fuck it, I'm gonna just sign up and then talk to my wife later, because they could have done it if they see the value. They could have done it right at that moment. You know, they brought it up because they don't see the value.
So how do you know, like, if somebody is like bullshitting you or somebody's legit?
This is a very good question.
Sorry?
No, I don't know. I'm very sensitive when people talk about something and I can feel it. It's it's sincere or not. You know, it depends on their tonality.
So give me an example of someone who is like who is bullshitting you and someone who's like really legit. Like I need to talk to my wife or something like that. Give me an example.
Yeah, so like they're ready to go and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, for example, if you pre-frame in the beginning,
yeah,
you said that, do you need anybody to get on the phone, or you need to ask permission from someone? They're like, no. And all of a sudden, in the end, they're like, I need to ask my wife, and that's kind of bullshit. What the fuck is that?
Liar.
Oh yeah. I was looking at hung chair. I'm like, is that a mask? But somebody who, like, from the beginning to the end, they always mention about their significant other. Some people are like that, right? Like, I'm doing this for my wife, I'm doing this for my kids. And actually my wife talk about this a lot, and then when they mention about their wife, then that actually like makes sense.
Since I'm the only one with a wife here, I think I just want to say that I actually use that as a real excuse when I want to get out of a sales call or a sales experience, because the other person cannot deny it might be my truth and they have to have empathy for me. Like, that might be true for some guys, but I know deep down, if I want something, I do not have to ask her. And if it was a questionable return on investment, that person, you got to get them so hyped up that they're ready to convince their wife after they buy it. Because people will do that. If you really want a boat or something, you'll just do it because you know you're going to hear no, and then you're just going to spend the rest of the time convincing. So my experience says that, like, you got to be careful with that specific objection, as like, really, like, is your wife going to be doing the selling? Like, don't you want to, whatever. I know you guys know how to handle that more. I just want to say that it's very unlikely to be legit. So that's my experience.
And like, Rich, Rich, whose sound is that? To Rich's point too, like, I think that's a great chance to give them an out too. Like, typically when I hear this, when somebody says that they need to talk to their wife or talk to their partner, sometimes they just want to get out of the conversation. This isn't the case, is it? Great time to bring that up. And like, even when it comes to payment or anything like that, just give them a way out so they don't bullshit you. Just call that shit out,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
No, it's perfect. Exactly. I think I've forgotten that one for a while.
Me too.
Same thing for the information.
Was there anything else you want to talk about on this call, like for this particular call, David?
Yeah, when I was looking over my notes and just listening through the call, there are like things that pop out of my mind in terms of questions I should be asking just to get more clarity. Because like while listening to it, I was just paying more attention to pains, but I wasn't like thinking of like questions to use on the spot, such as, when they start talking about other gurus, things they paid for in the past. A question I should have asked is, why didn't it work? Because it sounds like you have a lot of experience here. That's a question that should have been brought up. That probably would have knocked a lot of his objections in the end. It wouldn't even come through because of that alone. Because then it's like, it puts the blame on him. It's like, hey, is it really all these gurus or is it you? Like, what's going on here?
Fucking mic drop. That's good.
It's you, bitch.
Oh yeah, challenge.
Yeah, like we learn from this through role plays when we have like we're in the beginning when you do role plays and you get hit by the hard emerald or ruby and you just don't know how to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, maybe 2 weeks later, you've been doing like 20 hours worth, maybe more, of role plays. And you come back to it, like, it's so easy to like destroy them. But then you're transitioning from an HCC style to like, real estate targeting 30 to 60-year-olds who got burned by gurus, right? That's like typically the pain is either they're burned by gurus or they hate their life and job, right? It's one or the other. I think that's his target demo right here.
And like something comes to mind too is like, if he came in with that expectation, what was he like? Why exactly did he book a call with like us then? What makes this program any different? And there's something there, because like if you really thought it wouldn't help you, like you wouldn't have booked a call,
Yeah, like why are you wasting your time?
Yeah, why are you wasting your time?
Yeah, it's interesting because when I was listening, it's actually the beginning of a call. He did say why he picked this. Like he liked something about Darren. I would probably have to listen to the beginning of the call again just to hear it again.
Yeah.
Hey, I have a question. David, when you were answering about the is in the game, did you really have a lot of confidence in your answer? Do you guys actually know exactly the response to that, or were you sort of freestyling there?
So that's pulling from what we have on battle cards. On top of it is just certain basic knowledge we hear about. He's still doing real estate deals. So that's just as a matter of fact. Like I wouldn't say I know that 100%. I'm just going by what I'm hearing from.
Yeah, I guess I mean more actually specifically that he asked would join in on a deal. I know vaguely maybe mentioned that, but is that really something you can suggest? And all I really want to point out is that it's not really your fault. Like sometimes you got to be straight up with the prospect and like, this is really primarily educational. Like can't guarantee he can join every deal, because to me that seems more likely to be the truth. And I guess I just want to follow up and say like I have a kind of a feeling like I wonder if some of these closes, if you guys had more leads coming in, you would be a bit more objective and realize like you can't defend every prospect. Like some of them are just simply unqualified. It has nothing to do with you guys. His course isn't A+ yet. I don't know what grade it is, and I think like I was wondering, because you said you'd get back to him with more info in an hour. Like what if you had 2 more calls right after that? Like, would you have really wanted to actually commit that time to this prospect, given like his seriousness was probably like 7 or 8, maybe not even, it's hard to say. So I guess I just want to bring up from an outsider point of view, like, first of all, you guys are probably doing a great job. The leads are really weak. Make sure you keep your selling on that positional level where, hey, we're just trying to help you. If you're not interested, move on. Like it's not a big deal. You don't have to win them over, because I would hate for you to sell this guy and then isn't going to be on any deals. And the sole reason he asked you, it's on you. It shouldn't be on you. It should be a fact whether actually doing that. And then you can wholeheartedly be like, yes, just done 3 deals in the last 18 months with other students. You can definitely count on him. Like that would have been so much stronger, as if, yeah, in the game. And it's not on you. It's like, that's why I want to know, is he providing enough truth there so you guys can feel confident on who's qualified and who's not, rather than feeling like, oh, I want to get a successful call in, so I'm going to try and like go above and beyond for this so prospect. So just giving a shout out to like, it's not your guys' techniques nearly as much as there is still so much here from Zen to the quality of prospecting to improve through the targeting of the campaigns before, attachment to the close may be too high. Cause like, I think like you wouldn't have answered like that, in my opinion, that if you had like a bunch more leads coming in that day, it would have been easier to disqualify. So just some extra thoughts. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
No, I completely agree.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the thing. Like, it's kind of like that marketing is not only for the prospect; it's actually for us too. So we feel that conviction as well. And when we're talking, our tonality, it depends on that conviction. If we don't actually believe it, right? It's hard. It's a lot harder, you know. And I'm not saying that the course isn't real. Like we've all been through the. Most of us have been through the course, and it's good value, right? But
It's definitely
it's
good.
like it's tough because we don't have that marketing conviction, right?
Yeah. I think that's hurting us as well. Like I realize, yeah, like when I'm listening to my calls, I'm like, I'm not closing really. Like I know now that I think back on it, I was too excited because we're just like, yes, let's get these calls, right? So it's way too attached.
Mm. Let me ask you, David. So like near the end of a call, did you feel like you were losing control of it?
Thinking about that, hard to say because my process was okay. I have such limited information to go by, and that I was thinking, well, it could go with getting him the information, but we all know after the fact that the best approach would have been just to dig into that. It's like, well, why would you need this information? And if you did get it, what would that do? So
When you say, oh, sorry, David. Oh, when you're saying that you need more information, like what kind of information were you looking? Did you need more from him? Like, what would have helped you close that deal? What knowing like what did you need to know about him to close that deal?
Yeah, I would want to know like what did he do in the past that didn't work out? What courses did he take specifically? Like which courses? Because reflecting on the call, I don't know which courses he actually took. He just said he'd taken real estate gurus or courses. He went to some seminars, and it got to the point where if he wanted to have like I guess partnerships or investment deals, he would have to pay for some sort of upsell, and that's as far as I got in terms of information. So in other words, not much. I only have very general information on his history. And granted, it is a short call. If I were to dive deep into this and really like, extend it, I'd say you add another 10, 15 minutes, I probably would have opened up more information.
So what would you like? How would you transition that in the future? Or what like is the, what's a question that you would ask in the future? Like let's pretend that you have the same guy. What would you ask him next time?
Yeah, I would just ask him about his experiences in these other real estate programs because that's a question I didn't ask at all when I listened through it.
It also sounds like too like maybe that not lack of conviction, but sometimes like when we don't really have clarity about how something will help them, that comes out weak on us. Like our conviction's not really there. Did you find that was the case or not really?
Yeah, it's I'd say it's because of a lack of clarity and understanding on these situations. We haven't put ourselves through that situation before. We don't know what to expect from this course. Like unless you personally went through the course, like just finished every module and applied something, you wouldn't know how effective it is. It would just be like going through HCC and assuming, well, I went through the 7 weeks and there's evidence other students done well, but does that mean every student will do well? We don't know. And then let's say unless you actually personally hunted for an influencer at week 6 and 7, you don't know if it truly works or not. You just take it as a matter of fact that some people are posting results, it must work. And then you have 95% of the program, people in the program, like just having 0 results or just getting by, they just quit, they go quiet, they ask for a refund, you name it. So it's not much different from here in a way that many people, so I guess this probably would have been a situation where you could bring up the whole classroom scenario. Same course, same instructor. Why are there some students who do extremely well and other students who don't do well? I think this is probably one of those cases where you can use that conversation.
I just had a thought. Because the issue is we don't have a lot of stuff, but the thing is he does have a successful group of students. Do we know anything about testimonials? Like that would be powerful, especially the kinds of people that we get on the phone with, right? And I'm sure if they love him as much as we know that they do, they'd be happy to do a testimonial, right?
That could be a request you can put in, because said his current batch of students are finishing up now. Is that from my understanding?
Yeah, he's finishing it up, and there should be like, I think that's important too. Like, I mean, how big do you guys like Rich, I'm actually really curious about your thoughts, right? How big is social proof when it comes to closing, in your opinion?
I wonder if it's less important when it comes to one-on-one sales closing as opposed to pure landing page e-commerce. I mean, yeah, it can help. I mean, that's something on the front end that the user should have experienced already at some point. They should be far enough along that they've already said to themselves, this seems like the right person. I just want to add a little more to something I said earlier, and you guys kind of followed up on it about marketing. You know, marketing is a promise a company is making that they will deliver if you spend money with them. You know, that's all it is. And if you guys are unclear about the promise making, there will be that slight disconnection. And I think, yeah, like you got to know in your heart, you know, that the value exists for the promise being made. But if that promise is at all in flux, so is the value. It's hard to talk to consumers, to a prospect when there is not a mutual understanding of the value in discussion. It is merely then to determine whether the goal can be met through the product, right? I feel like there's so much effort here being spent on like convincing them. That should not be on your end as much as like, you know, the closing, the technical, the final persuasion. They're already so far, but yet when you guys are getting them, they still seem a bit weak, not even that warm. I don't know. I'm not hearing everything, so I can't make too much comments, but I try to always remember that marketing is just a promise and it's a stamp of what that promise is. And yeah, you need to get as much clarity there because then it's like really clear. It's like, man, you get this for this. If that's not what you're looking for, you know, why are we on this call? But and I think, you know, another problem, guys, you guys are getting so good at personal development through HTC and through your self-starting efforts that you naturally are personally developing your prospects too deep. You want them to be successful. You want them to see what they're capable of. But that's beyond the sort of requirements of a sales or a closing person. And that's something too, like you want them to win. You're naturally trying to help. That's Pearl nature. People got to help themselves first though, right? I mean, this is like the end final point, bringing home the close. They can't be like, do I have the effort ability? Do I have the knowledge? Do I have the conviction? Like there's millions of people who will never take a step in improving their lives. They're always kicking the can and you have to be cautious. And that's like why it ties into the low level of leads. You feel responsible and it has nothing to do with you. That's the thing.
I think that's one thing I've also like, Rich, as you're talking, that's one thing I realized too is like a lot of us on here, we care a lot about people, right? So it's kind of hard sometimes to like reverse psychology. Like if somebody's like, I don't have the conviction, I don't feel confident, I don't feel this. Like I think that's a great opportunity to either like go one or two ways. We can try to build them up, or we could just try to like reverse psychology. Like, I don't know, do you? Like, you tell me. Like, at the end of the day, that's how I feel. Like, if you really want this to work out, um, like, why do I have to come up with the reasons? Like, you have all the answers within yourself. Do you think you can really do this? Do you think this is in your even best interest, right? That's the way I would close it.
What interest scale or the interest scale from 1 to 10, what do you think Pierre was at the end of the call?
Say it dropped a bit, maybe like a 5 or 6.
Did you ever think about trying to do reverse psychology or just pulling the offer away from him?
Yeah, after the call, not during the call. Yeah, Kevin and I, Kevin was one of my first contacts. Like, I just like hit him up right after the call. I say, hey, let's talk. But yeah, pretty much. So this is what I felt. So when it got to a point where I wasn't able to effectively, I don't know how do you put it, like show that kind of conviction. I mean, even saying it doesn't count because the guy doesn't have conviction in Darren at that point. He's like, well, it sounds good, but what makes him different than any other gurus, right? That's his perspective there.
So why is he on this call then?
Yeah, so that's something I question to bring up for the prospect.
Hey guys, one more thing. I don't know. Just want to share some experience in a parallel world. Don't know if you guys know StarCraft. I know Kevin knows about it. But when you replay a game, when you go back and watch your game, you actually don't really want to look at the end. I know that's where it feels like the call ended, and therefore that's where the mistake may have been made. But I can't help but think we might want to actually start this call from minute one, very start, because if there was a mistake in the beginning, maybe it led to an entire thread throughout the entire conversation. And if you have this reoccurring mistake, you may not realize it because this might have been a qualification thing. And I'm just speculating. I'd love to hear the beginning of the call and see if there was something we could have done then, because that may ultimately change the entire course of the call with a pre-frame. And like when you look at StarCraft games, you make one mistake at the beginning, it throws the rest of the game off, just the timing of it. So I feel like this might be something similar. We might want to go back even further.
That's a great point, Rich. It's like that beginning, like trust, like that trust in the beginning. Like I get what you're saying. Sorry, Hung, what are you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think it definitely does snowball as much on a call as StarCraft. So you just have to have a really good beginning of a call to have a good ending.
Yeah, I know exactly that. Especially in StarCraft, you know the starting strategies like Zerg, Terran, or like Protoss.
Yeah,
I think that's where that's coming from. You mess up like one step, and if someone else is using the same strategy, they pretty much will win if they're solid for the next 15 minutes. So same principle here on the call, where if the framing wasn't properly set up, like if it's just like just rolling with it, may not be as effective as pre-frame it, let them know this is the deal. These are the questions I'll be asked and exactly for this purpose. And that could have changed the outcome of this conversation because like you have a stronger frame. I guess that's the thing, is the importance of framing. Potentially.
That's a really great point, Rich. Like I always think about like when you're doing like a 4-gate for Protoss or something like that, there's like a certain build order every single time if you want to execute that strategy. And you're right, maybe like a good way to host these calls is like play a little bit at the beginning as well. You know what's really cool, like as we're shooting the, or as we're like kind of documenting like this meeting and stuff, I really dude, this is actually pretty fun, man.